These 21 Etsy stores all sell digital downloads that make at least $100,000 a year, but there are 3 digital niches you should avoid if you want to make that kind of cash. Let's check them out.
But first, I'm Jess at Insights by Jess. I dig deep into what makes Etsy stores successful and where they can improve so that you get the full 411 on what's really selling and why. Let's jump in.
One of the most popular things that is just exploding on Etsy this year is digital downloads, and that's because they are passive income type products and they have a great opportunity for growth. You get to set your own hours and work at your own pace and build your store up how you want it to be. But not all digital downloads are the same and not all of them are going to sell well. So I wanted to make this video to show you 21 digital products that break that 100K a year barrier and give you 3 digital niches or niches to avoid if you're looking for steady 6-figure sales. Now, this video covers a lot of niches, a lot of stores, so I've tried to be as brief as possible, and I have put the chapters in the description below so you can feel free to jump around through the video and check out what you like. Okay, let's get to it. The first niche that I want to dive into is digital mockups, which can be done either with actual photography of items, or if you have some digital designing skills, you can create layered looks in Photoshop, Canva, or your favorite design program. I wanted to cover mockups first because this seems to be a pretty rapidly growing niche, in-demand niche with a lot of opportunity for different products to expand into. As print on demand grows, so does this particular digital download niche. So the first store that we are going to check out is called 𝒉𝒐𝒔𝒆 Studio. So 𝒉𝒐𝒔𝒆 Studio has mockups that are mostly t-shirts and things for women. As we scroll through their store here, you can kind of see their general vibe. And they're great photos. They're obviously taking real photography. They have a particular model that they seem to use consistently, and their look is very uniform and very clean. So this store actually has, jumping back to the top here, 17,000 sales, over 17,000 sales, and their average listing price is about $5. And I'm going to tell you why that is very quickly. If we look at these, we can see most of these listings are a standard $275. But this listing here, the whole shop mockup bundle, is $16, and that is one of their very best sellers, putting their average annual sales at about $128,000 a year. And that is impressive because this store's oldest feedback is only in April of 2022. So they haven't even hit a year old yet. They're about 9 months old. They're killing it with sales right off the bat. They've nailed their photography. And if you are someone who loves taking pictures, especially of people, this is a great niche for you to dominate. So looking at their best-selling listings really briefly here, this is one of their best sellers. It's white Bella canvas t-shirt. This is a really popular t-shirt for women in the print on demand niche. So this is a very high demand photo. The next listing I wanted to take a peek at was that whole shop mockup bundle because this is their bestseller. It's in their feedback over and over again, and I've never quite seen something like this before because, as it says here, if you buy this once, you get lifetime access to all of their current and their future mockups. Apparently that's genius because they've already broken 100K sales, but it's also unique. And honestly, $16 for every mockup that they have is a really hard deal to pass up. So it's clear to see why they are dominating this niche and why they are doing so well so quickly. But they are not the only ones dominating this space. So the next store I want to take you to is actually 𝑬𝒕𝒔𝒆𝒔. You guys might remember this one from the review video that I did. Actually, this was one of my first review videos that I published, and they have been growing steadily since that video. As you can see, they offer a lot more in variety for mockups than just t-shirts, which is great for print-on-demand makers who are selling coffee mugs, or if you sell digital downloads of like wall art or printable digital downloads. That's a mouthful. And that makes the store a very, very popular choice for many people looking for mockups. Just to give you a brief rundown of their stats, since they have grown, they are sitting at just over 77,000 sales, and they are slightly below that six-figure mark. They are sitting around 88,000 a year, and they're not quite 3 years old. So I really wanted to include that, even though this doesn't quite make that 100K threshold, they are growing rapidly. If you look back at that video I did in October, their sales are really, really growing. They are doing a really great job, and I really wanted to include the store in this review because they do have a lot of very, very low prices. As you can see, this one here is not even $1, which means they're only making 30 to 40 cents, assuming that they are not running any sort of ads for these. But it is a very powerfully selling store. So with a quick tweak to their pricing, maybe adding 50, 60 cents to these, they would sell equally as well and be well over that six-figure mark. So I did not want to discount this amazingly well-selling store. But that is not super impressive, so I have saved the best mockup store for last. Fleur du Soleil Mockups, which is super cool. It's a store from New York, and they have, as you can see, a lot of t-shirts going on, but they have a lot more variety. And as you can see, they focus on not just people photography, but flat lays as well. And a flat lay is basically something like this, where the shirts are laid out flat on a surface with usually some accessories as well. So you can see that they have multiple ones of those in their shop. So looking at their store stats, they have almost over 226,000 sales and an average listing price of about $3. Their oldest feedback is from July of 2018, and that puts their annual sales over about $156,000 to $158,000 a year. This has been a well-established store. They are showing that this is a timeless niche that will be able to last for several years to come. And they have a really cool idea that I wanted to show you. Up here in their store announcement, you can see that they have a build your own bundle, and they have done this with coupon codes. So if you purchase a certain amount, you get a bigger discount, and that is a really genius idea. So I would imagine that pushes their average cart price up significantly higher and really boosts those overall sales. So mockups can be a powerful niche to get started in, and really do have a lot of opportunity for growth. There's always going to be print-on-demand t-shirts. There's always going to be digital design makers and coffee mug sellers. So this is a great way to kind of get started in the niche and get your sales rolling. But that brings us to our next category, which is digital planners. Now, digital planners come in all different kinds, and it does take a little bit of energy to learn how to make these. But with a few YouTube videos, you can learn how to do this in no time at all. For a good tutorial on making planners for GoodNotes, you can check out Amanda Davis on YouTube, and she has a fantastic collection of videos. I have a link in the video description to a really great tutorial for planners for GoodNotes, or if you have iPads, iPhones, those kinds of planners. But if you are a non-Apple user or you want to make non-Apple user products, there is also a great channel from Basics by Becca. She has fantastic tutorials as well using Canva and Adobe Acrobat Pro. So you can check those videos out. The links are in the description. The first digital planner store I wanted to talk about is Planners Collective. Now this store only has 12 listings, which is amazing because they are knocking it out of the park with their sales. They have almost 83,000 sales and an average list price of about $5. Their oldest feedback is in June of 2029, so they are about 3.5 years old, and their average annual sales are about $117,000. As you can see here, there's a lot of really popular products. Even though they only have 12 of these, they are selling really well. You get a lot of these over 20 people have this in their cart, 4 people, 7 people, 15 people, and they have multiple bestseller tags on here. If we look at this particular bestseller listing, you can see that this is a custom planner, which is why it is such a great seller. And she really capitalizes on the idea that this is customizable in under 2 minutes, So, genius idea. I love it. It just hits this whole life planner idea out of the park, and it's easy to see why she is doing so great with this. The next store is called Live Love Planners, and you might also recognize this one if you've seen some of my early videos. I did a review on this store. This is probably one of my favorite stores I have ever reviewed because it is beautiful. I love her products, and she actually has 43. I believe when I did her review in October, it was maybe 35. I'm not exactly sure, but it wasn't very many. She has also grown a lot. When I did the review the first time, she was just shy of the 100 sales mark, and now she has topped that. So she has 35,500 sales with an average listing price of about $6. Her oldest feedback is in February of 2021, so she's approaching her 2-year anniversary, and her average annual sales at this point in time fall right about at the $115,000 a year mark. She is rapidly growing. If you check my previous review video, you will see that she is just really growing well, and I love this. This is one of my favorite products of hers, is this digital reading journal, and there is a lot of room for growth in the way that she is selling these planners and the things that she can do. So for those tips, check out the video. I think I've said check out the video like 5 times now, so I'm going to move on to the next store. This is a cool one because it is not just digital planners. It is also a lot of printable stuff. So this is kind of 2 niches combined into one. And as you can see by her store header, she says that she has digital and printable products that help to organize and structure your life. So I absolutely love this store. I love her store name. I love her products. And I am not the only one because she is really killing it on sale. She has over 115,000 sales in her store. She has an average listing price of $7, and her oldest feedback is June of 2020. So another relatively new store. All of that factored together puts her average annual sales at $322,000 a year. So she has broken the 300K mark in less than 2 years' time, in about 2.5 years' time. So really, really fantastic. She does have more listings than the other stores we've looked at. However, she has 236, which is significantly more visibility in search. So the more listings you have, the more visibility you get. And I'm pointing that out because this seller does something that our Live Love Planners seller did not. She has the same product, these 2 are the same, in multiple listings here. So if we look through here, we can see that she is doing something that I suggested for Live Love Planners, spoiler alert for their video. She has taken the same planner and kind of changed up the colors, changed up the design. And a lot of these planners, if you buy it once, you can change the colors in that purchase, but a lot of sellers or a lot of buyers do not know that. So by having multiple colors in your main photo here, you are attracting multiple types of buyers. Some people might like the pink look, some people might like the tan look, some people might like this green look. So you can really capitalize on multiplying your listings for digital products. and changing up the color slightly and really boost your visibility in search because different people want different things. Okay, now that I have made it all the way through this digital planner niche, let's go to the next niche idea, which is spreadsheets. And this is for those that might be more of a math whiz rather than a designer. If you like math, this niche is for you. And the first store we're going to cover is called Haze Creatives. Now, this store is interesting because they actually started out by selling printables, and they must not have seen the kind of growth that they wanted, or maybe they branched into spreadsheets and just saw that those sell significantly better. But they went from those printables, they took all those listings off, and they replaced them with only 28 listings of spreadsheets. So these are almost all financial spreadsheets. They're quite well done. The main images are all the same, only the text at the top is different, so it really gives your eyes a great place to focus. And let's see what their stats are. Sitting at just over 22,000 sales with an average listing price of $7, and their oldest feedback for this store is in May of 2021. So their average approximate annual sales is about $122,000 a year. So it has really been interesting if I scroll down to their feedback here to see that they did not start out selling these types of products. I'm going to go down to their oldest feedback. Forgive the scrolling. And you can see that they had some printables here. They had some art printables, some wall art. They had a hard challenge habit tracker. What happens when I open this up? Let's check this out. So this is no longer available because they have actually taken off all of these printable products so that they can focus directly on these spreadsheets. And it seems to be a strategy that is paying off very, very well for them in terms of their store growth. That brings us to the next store that we are going to talk about in our spreadsheet category. And this store is called Co Products. Now this store, I love this store. This is my unicorn store. I love it. They have almost 14,000 sales, and they only started their store 6 months ago. Their first feedback is from June 23rd of 2022. They only have 10 listings. So if you thought that the first spreadsheet store was impressive, this one is even more so. Because with an average price of $5, this store is pulling in an approximate annual sales of $167,000 to $170,000 a year. That is absolutely mind-blowing for a store with 10 listings that is barely 6 months old. And I am launching a full review of this store. So if this video is a little bit old and you're just now catching it, it's already in my YouTube feed. Go check that out because this store is super impressive. But while we're digging into the store, I do briefly want to show you why this store is doing so well. Now, this is obviously not a $5 product. This is a $15 product, and it is a bestseller. So my annual sales estimate is obviously very, very low. I do that for a reason. You'll have to see the whole store review video to see why that is. But they do a really great job pulling together all of the images that I typically suggest doing. So that's all I'm going to say about this particular store. You're going to have to see the full video for that one. Lastly, in the spreadsheet category, yes, there is another because I do not want to let you down on this one. The last store is called Creative Jam Co. And this one is another mixed kind of store. If you notice, I'm kind of mixing it up here towards the end of each niche. This one is spreadsheets and printable planners. So, very unique. I love this store. They do have a lot more listings. This store is also relatively new. They have their first feedback popping up in April of 2020. So my guess is they had a lot of time during lockdown to pump out lots of great designs, and it is quite possible, quite probable to be honest, they have another store that they branched off of with this new store. And they likely were able to bring a lot of those designs with them. However, as you can see from their store here and their 3,000 listings, they have 181,500 sales, which is massive amount of sales to collect in 2.5 years, almost 3 years. Their average listing price is about $375, and that puts their approximate annual sales at $254,000 a year. So they have broken the $250,000 mark per year on this store. Because this is such a broad store, though, you're going to see a lot more things. They have a social media planner, which is smart. They have bill trackers, so another monthly budget type of thing. And then they have some cute stuff that's like editable concert tickets, which is like a gift idea probably. Or they have a finance planner that is printable, because some of us like to use binders and pages that we can see and touch rather than a spreadsheet. There's an editable price list, so if you're a small business owner, you could do that. And the list just goes on and on about all the different types of things that they have. So they really went for a wide variety of products with this store. It is not simply 10 listings of spreadsheets. Now, this store is actually featured in my 20 plus clever Etsy store ideas that sell really well freebie. So that's a cool freebie. It includes all the niches. It includes digital products, print on demand products, supplies, and a few handmade stores that are all breaking 6-figure sales. So grab that freebie and check it out for even more ideas that are not digital. But that concludes this section of the video, and we're going to move on to the next niche, which is clip art and digital designs. So I've actually featured all of the stores in this category in their own separate review videos. So I have a playlist of all my digital review videos. Check that out. They are definitely worth watching. And I apologize in advance for kind of cheating on this section and reusing these stores, but honestly, this was hours and hours and hours to research for this video and find all of these different stores. So please don't hate me. I cheated on this category a little bit with these reused stores, but most of them have grown. So you're getting a little bit of an update here. The first one, as you can see, you've been staring at while I talk and jibber jabber on here, is So Sweet Paradise. And this was a cool store that I reviewed also back in October. Their stores have now topped that 400,000 sales mark. They are sitting at 405,000 now, which is amazing. And their average product price is about $4. This is a well-established store, and their first feedback comes in November of 2014. So it is a timeless niche. It is not going anywhere, and they are still growing really well. They have actually topped the $200,000 mark, which is an impressive improvement over their last store stats, which I did in the previous video. They actually have, with all of the numbers that I've rattled off here so far, an average approximate sales of $200,000 per year. So I hope they are celebrating. That is a great milestone. And I'm not going to really talk too much about this store because I do have its own video, but I do want to point out one of their cool listings. It does not have the bestseller tag, but because it's a holiday listing, it has popped up a lot in their recent feedback. And I thought it was clever, so I wanted to take a quick second to show you that they actually have a holiday design, a very simple, very classic holiday design in a foreign language. And that is something that not a lot of us think about when we are making digital designs, is that there's people from all over the world shopping on Etsy. So I just wanted to point that out before moving on to the next design store, which is Heather Roberts Art. I also have this video in my list of digital design reviews. This store has also grown significantly well, and they are now sitting at over $661,000 sales. This is a dollar store type of idea for this seller. They have really capitalized on the fact that all of their listings are $1. And after paying fees, that puts them at a profit of about 45 cents per sale. So with an average listing price of $1 and their oldest feedback is in March 21st of 2020, that puts their average approximate annual sales at $240,000. However, when you take into account that they're making 45 cents off of each of these sales, that, assuming they're not running ads, that would put their profits at their annual profits at about $107,000 a year after paying all the fees. So they are still a six-figure seller, even with this $1 price point. You're going to have to check out the solo video on this to see why I really love that pricing strategy, even though I don't really suggest it. And that brings me to the next digital design maker of this niche category, which is Digital Curio. And if you've already seen this video, you can instantly probably pick up on the fact that they have changed their store header. I loved their previous store header, and I love this one even more. For some reason, I didn't think that was possible, but I love it. This one really focuses on their logo right front and center, and I love it so much. Anywho, they have broken the 672,000 sales mark, which is phenomenal. And this is another well-established store, so their first feedback comes in April of 2014. Considering they have an average price point of about $3, that puts their approximate annual sales at $232,000. Now, if you haven't seen that review video for this particular store, this is a little bit more of a design intensive store. So these designs are a little bit more complex than most of the other ones in this category. And that's great for people who really love designing and can get lost in the enjoyment of creating new designs. But it also gives you an edge over the competition. So again, I'm going to advocate that if you're not super skilled, please watch some videos, learn some new skills, because that can really put you ahead of competitors. Just big time puts you ahead, because you're able to do something that other people cannot quite do. But there's another thing that sets this store apart, and that is the fact that they allow their designs to be used for commercial use, which is fantastic. A lot of sellers do not allow that. And because this is often being used to make things, like for example, this is a pendant that's been made with this design, and if you look through their feedback, they're using this store's designs to actually create products and create items. So the fact that this seller allows that is phenomenal, and it doesn't really hurt this seller because they're not making, for example, invitations. They're not making t-shirts, or here's another invitation, coffee mugs, or pendants. You know, they're making digital downloaded designs. So great way to grow. Okay, I have talked so much about so many stores so far, and I hope that you have enjoyed them, but we're about halfway through all of these stores, and I want to make a really quick announcement before I continue on here. So in about 2 weeks, I am going to be doing a live review video. So all the store review videos that I typically do, I'm going to do one live, and I'm going to feature about 4 different stores. So it will probably be about 45 minutes to an hour long. And you guys can ask me questions, and you can ask me live. You can pick my brain and see, you know, how these things are done, or certain tips and tricks that you're curious about. Hopefully you will learn a lot of great information. So if you want me to feature your store in the live review, I'm compiling those stores in advance. Please drop your store name in the comments so that I can start making a list of stores to feature. And make sure you subscribe and put that little reminder bell on so that when we do the live review, you can find out about it right away. I'm going to have that pre-scheduled so you can set a reminder and you definitely won't miss it. Okay, now I got that out of the way. We're going to continue on with the next niche, but the next niche I want to cover comes with a bit of a disclaimer. There is a specific way to approach a niche like this, and we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes when we talk about the 3 digital niches to avoid. However, before we talk about that, I want to showcase these awesome store ideas. And this particular niche is printable wall art and decor. So, the first store I want to feature in printable wall art is called Calm and Joyful Kids. They make mental wellness printables, and I absolutely love this store. This is another fairly new store, and they have done a really beautiful job of creating products for the mental wellness niche. So, they have about 439 different designs, and they are not all for children. Some of them are very commonly used, like this one is a therapist's office decor, school counseling posters, inclusion posters, more therapist's office decor. So there's a wide range of mental wellness items in this store. And I am going to do a review video of this store specifically because they have a lot of great tips that I want to give you that do not fit into this very long video already. But let's go over their store stats. They are sitting at just over 35,000 sales, and they have an average listing price of $8. Their first feedback is in July of 2020, which puts their approximate annual sales at $115,000 a year. And the cool thing about this store is that they have a lot of bundled deals. So if I click on this, you can see that they have a lot of bundles that are sets of prints or sets of posters, and that kind of blows my $8 price point out of the water, because if you see these prices, they are not $8, they are way higher. However, I like to be conservative, as you will find out in its own video when I go into detail about this store. But one of the bundles in particular that I really love is not one of those $45 bundles. It's actually on sale for $10. This is a bestseller, and it's a set of 18 prints for a counseling office or a psychologist's office. And the colors are amazing. The styles are amazing. But I also wanted to show you this particular one because all of these designs could be completed or could be created with general clip art and font options on Canva. So I did want to point that out, that you can create a store like this without a lot of technical design software or technical skills. Okay, so let's go on to the next one, which is called Oh Happy Printables. And this is a really cute store as well. This is a little bit more of a customized store, which I absolutely love. So they do have a lot of invitations and party decor, and as you can see, a lot of holiday stuff because it's December right now. But if we look at their feedback, you can see that what is selling the best are things like watercolor couple portraits. You can see that a few times here. Personalized gnome family print, you see it pop up a few times. Of course, it's the holidays. And a lot of custom art, so custom love map printables, things like that. So that drives up their average prices because, as you can see, their watercolor bridesmaid portrait is $13, and this is something that can be done with a Photoshop action. So you can actually learn how to, if you have Photoshop, or I'm sure a lot of other design products or programs have similar features as well. You can have a customer send you a photo. I'm going to enlarge this for you, and you can run a Photoshop action that will turn that photo into a watercolor art style. So if you create the action once, or if you buy the action from another seller perhaps, you can learn how to create art like this, and it's pretty much digitized. It's done for you at a couple of clicks of the button, and it turns a regular photo into this particular style. So that is a really cool way to offer a personalized digital product in just, a couple of minutes of your time. I did want to point that out. Another interesting thing I wanted to point out about Oh Happy Printables, and the reason I haven't yet done their store stats, is because they actually have 2 stores. they have this store and this store, which is called Being Happy Prints. Now, I had to go through and do a lot of digging to make sure that this was the same store. And I used a lot of different clues within each of these two stores to determine that they are in fact the same store. So this store is much more specific in terms of being party games, party invites, more, as you can see, a lot of collections of games, more themed around special events, whereas Oh Happy Prince, their bestsellers seem to be their personalized watercolor portraits and personalized love maps and things like that. So it's two slightly different digital printable niches. They're both digital art, but they're different styles. And these two stores are breaking over $300,000 a year in sales collectively. So this one, Being Happy Prints, makes approximately $170,000 a year, and Oh Happy Printables makes about $140,000. So that's a lot of money for these two stores to be bringing in. And if you want to see me do a review of these two sister stores, because I'm actually really curious about these and I would love to dig deeper into them, but I haven't yet. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments and I will go ahead and put that on my list. The next one I wanted to feature in this particular category is Leela and Lola. And I love this one. This is actually printable art and it focuses specifically on pictures of animals. It is really, really popular, and I do have a video coming out very soon of this particular store because I love it so much. But let's talk about their stats. They have $146,000 in sales. Or why do I keep saying that? They have over 146,000 sales. They have an average listing price of about $12. And as you can see here, it says $6.30, but there's a reason I do say $12. You're going to have to watch the video to get that detail, because this is supposed to be short and brief and I'm already taking way too long. But their first feedback is in August of 2015, and they are making approximately $240,000 in sales per year, conservatively. So these are huge, huge, huge sellers. And if we take a peek at one of their best sellers, you can see this is actually an Etsy's pick, and it's a collection of 6 different woodland creature favorites. It is selling phenomenally well. This one is actually $25. As you can see here by this photo, they say that they are the original nursery animals, and they have that little symbol down here, which makes you really think, okay, so this is high quality stuff. This is really good stuff. So they are obviously, since they've been around since 2015, they are a great seller. They do a really good job. Their photography is amazing. And I actually have a way that you can do this without even needing a camera at all, but you're going to have to watch the video for that one. So let's go on to our next store, which is called Stray Faces. This one is super, super cute, and they offer more than just digital downloads, but their digital downloads are actually really, really their best sellers here. So we're going to focus on that. It's another one of those mixed niche stores that I love so much, right? This one is primarily pet photos. So it's taking a photo of your pet and it's turning it into printable artwork for you. This is also something that can be done with a Photoshop action. Probably they have a little bit of pretty decent design skills that they can get clean borders and clean backgrounds on these. And some of these, like this one, for example, is more of a artistic cartoon type of look to it. It's almost looks like it's been painted. It's not just a photography, not just a photograph. So they do offer several color options and different styles that you could do. So this is a really big bestseller, and this is also something that you can do in Canva with their remove background feature. You can often remove the background of people's pets and create something like this. So this is really, really cool. Let's talk about their store stats before I go on anymore. This store has over 19,000 sales, and they have an average product price of about $21. Their oldest feedback is in December of 2018, and their average approximate sales is $101,000 a year. Now, when I did that, when I calculated all of these things, I only concentrated on their digital downloads. I didn't really take into account the fact that they have some of these custom print-on-demand products here, because these are significantly more expensive. These are $50 for a phone case, which is pretty surprising. There is a pillow here for $40. There's a onesie for $45. So a blanket for $76. So these are significantly more expensive. So I did look mostly at the digital art for that and go with a $21 price point for the digital art. So in reality, their sales are significantly higher than my estimate, but looking at their feedback, you can see mostly what they're selling is this digital art. So I think I was pretty fair. I think I was pretty accurate, but you never know. I could be way off base if they're selling a lot of those $75 pet blankets. Let's take a look at the last one in this niche. This last one is a little bit different. It is actually called Bella's Portrait, and as you can see, they do custom art, custom wall art, which is a digital download as a printable, and they actually take your photos of you, your pet, your family, your wedding, and they turn it into this art style. This is also something that can be done with Photoshop Actions, but it is really clever, it's really unique, and as you can see, they only have 10 listings, but they have over 18,000 sales, almost just shy of 19,000 sales, and an average product price of about $10. So their oldest feedback is only in March of 2022, so they are another very new store, about 9 months old, and they have actually racked in about $320,000 in sales already. So this is absolutely insane. If you are capable of making art like this, you can see that there's a definite need for stores like this. This is amazing, amazing, amazing sales. So I really, really wanted to feature this one last because it is pretty impressive. And because I don't like to end things on a bummer side, before I dive into the last 5 stores, I want to go and talk about the 3 niches to avoid. Okay, this is important, so listen closely, guys. And of course, this is not true all across the board because there are going to be some standout stores that do amazingly, amazingly well. However, as a general rule, there are 3 particular niches that I personally, in my humble opinion, suggest you avoid. The first one of those is teaching printables and learning worksheets. Now, let me tell you a little bit about that particular niche. As I pull up their search results, there is a lot of competition in this niche, a lot. And that competition is not only on Etsy, and that is one of the main, pretty much the only reason that I suggest avoiding this niche is because there is so many sellers of these types of products. And even more than that, there are a lot of free learning worksheets available online. So you don't even need to pay money to get a lot of different worksheets like these. So when you're scrolling through and you're looking at learning items, learning pages, you can get a lot of these ready to print right off of your Google search browser. Even more than that, there is a site specifically for products like these called Teachers Pay Teachers that sells phenomenally well, and it has amazing selections. And a lot of those products are made by teachers with a great amount of experience and curriculum expertise. So they really make it hard for people in this niche on Etsy to compete. And a lot of the people that sell on Teachers Pay Teachers also have an Etsy store. So you are also competing with those well-selling products already. So for that reason, if you are just getting into the digital download niche, I would not suggest getting into it for school or learning printables in general, as a general rule. That brings me to number 2. The second one I do not suggest that you get into as a newbie is printable wall art with generic sayings. And I want to be very, very clear on that because we just covered 5 really amazingly well-selling stores in the printable art niche, right? But if you jump back through those stores, if you use the little chapter buttons and take a peek at them once again, you're going to see that each of those stores is really unique. They offer something that adds uniqueness and beauty to the wall art space. They are not just your average generic types of wall art. So for example, this store here, this particular art has just general statements on it. It's a pretty typical basic font, and you can absolutely start a store selling this type of art, and you can do well if your SEO is on point and your price is amazing. But there are a lot of people selling art like this, and a lot of it just doesn't sell spectacularly well. As you can see here, there is a lot of competition for this general basic type of saying on a wall type of artwork. It is definitely not as unique and characteristic as some of these other types of art that have, that we've seen so far with the talent and the style that we have already covered. So I am not saying that you cannot be successful selling printable wall art. Please don't take that as what I mean. But what I am saying is that if you are going into the printable wall art niche, you need to have something unique about your art. You need something that sets your printables apart from all of the other stores that are already selling printable wall art. So please take some time and really put your personality into it so that you can add something really cool and unique to the space. Okay, the last niche that I suggest you avoid, or niche to avoid, is actually a broad niche store. So this applies to every type of store or every type of product that you could be selling. Do not sell multiple types of products in one store. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you sell clip art and spreadsheets and mock-up images all in one store, you are statistically going to sell less and sell more slowly, I guess, grow more slowly than a store that is only selling spreadsheets, or a store that is only selling clip art or only selling mock-ups. There's a reason for that. The Etsy algorithm has an easier time in understanding who to show your store to, who is your audience, who is your buyer, if you have a tight niche. And that means either one type of products, like only spreadsheets, for example, or one type of customer. So, for example, that pet store we saw a little earlier that has print on demand and digital download products in the same thing. That store is probably still really successful because they have one target audience, and that is a pet lover. If you love your pet, you're probably going to find something you like in their store. So I definitely suggest, and of course these are again only my suggestions, I definitely suggest focusing on either one type of product, like only spreadsheets or only wall art, or one type of customer, like only coffee lovers, only pet lovers, only baseball fans. There's unlimited options, and one of the ways that you can kind of narrow that down for yourself is to go and get my free resource. It is how to find a winning niche or a winning store on Etsy. There's a link to that in the description. Go get it. It's free, and it will really walk you through the process of finding a best-selling niche that you actually will enjoy selling. So now that I have covered the the bummer stuff here, let's get back to the last of the digital download niches because I have saved the best for last. This niche, which is invites and party decor, brings in by far the most money in digital downloads. When I see the most successful digital stores, this is what they're selling. The first store is Little Prince Parties. They make editable kids printables and party decor. I do have a video with their own specific review if you want to check that out, but as a baseline, this store has sold almost 245,000 items, and they have an average listing price of about $6. They have their oldest feedback occurring in December of 2009, which puts their average annual sales at $113,000 a year, which is, of course, conservative. But what they offer is editable invitations and party decor, things like this, that can be done in Canva, can be created in Canva, and really sell well. So be sure to check out their own review video to see why they sell so well. I love the store and I wanted to include it on this list. However, the next one is even more impressive. This is a Wild Bloom Printables, and they have gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous wedding decor, bridal party games, bridal shower games, bachelorette party games, things like that. A lot of bundles in here, and they've done a great job creating simple products that look really beautiful. This store actually has 243,000 sales and an average price of $6. They got their first feedback in July of 2016, and that puts their average annual sales at $230,000 a year. So these are editable, which makes them very, very popular. They are very minimalistic. They're very clean and beautiful and elegant looking. And obviously that is a theme that sells really well, as you will see when we go to the next store. This is called Unmeasured Events. And as you can see, it is a very, very similar type of store. They offer many of the similar types of things. And you can see that there's a common theme among a lot of these party stores that we've looked at with the little frames, the little golden frames. Very cute, very popular right now. But this store is actually selling even better than the last. They have 313,000 sales and an average listing price of about $7. Their oldest feedback is in February of 2017, and they make approximately $375,000 a year, which is massive. That is a beautiful, wonderful amount of sales, right? Wouldn't we all love $375,000 in sales from just one store? So they have some really, really smart FAQs in their photos, and I wanted to point that out. Let me see here if I can find it. Okay, so they have a great FAQ picture, which if you enlarge it and you take a peek, it answers a lot of the most common questions. I love this because it really will help eliminate a lot of reasons people don't want to buy. So that is fantastic. Even better is this one that says it's instant access, it never expires, you can edit pretty much everything and try a demo. So I love this. We see some demo stuff in some of my other digital review videos, and that brings us to the topic of the next store, which is DIY Paper Boutique. I do have this store featured in my reviews. I've already got a video, so check out that playlist. You'll see all the videos I've already done and all the ones that are going to come out still yet so far. But this store is the same beautiful kinds of style. This is not as minimalistic as the last two. You can see a lot of really beautiful, elegant elements to these. Beautiful flowers, beautiful floral bouquet kind of designs. But These are also editable, and they have over 168,000 sales in this store. This store is only from February 2019, so it is the newest of all the stores I've covered in this particular section so far, and an average listing price of $13. So they sell for the most of the stores, more than any of the other stores that I have covered so far. However, taking all of that math into account here, calculating for the fact that they are only a 3-year store, they have average approximate sales of $585,000 a year. So they have broken the $500,000 mark every year so far, or per year so far, I should say. Their first year could have been very slow. I don't know. But this is amazing. This is absolutely insane amount of sales for a digital download store. If you want to see more about this store, make sure you check out their particular specific video. And don't forget that any of these types of digital download products can be done if you take the time to learn and sharpen your design skills or your spreadsheet skills, or even just go dig out that camera and get busy taking photos. The biggest key to being successful in any digital niche is to find a popular idea and make a unique contribution to that space. So again, go get that winning product freebie and see what you can think of. Get your brainstorming on and find something that's actually awesome. But believe it or not, digital is not my favorite niche category, and I've actually had lots more personal success with a different type of product. For millions of dollars in sales potential, you should check out the print-on-demand niches, like, for example, this t-shirt store that is dominating Etsy with over $1 million sales in their very first year. You can check that review video out here.